I'd like to greet all human beings all around the world. The universal greetings of peace, blessings of God be with you. It doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor religious beliefs may be. It doesn't matter whether you're the richest or the poorest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter whether you're the poorest to the richest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor religious beliefs may be. Doesn't matter if you're dark-skinned or light-skinned. Doesn't matter whether you like me, my YouTube videos, what I say or do. I greet all you all with the same universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. Tonight happened to be what they call Throwback Thursday, July the 23rd, 2020, time of the vision, time to change. It happened to be 11:20 p.m. Tonight what I want to talk about is stopping the violence. Let's get unity in the community, in the black community. And again, for those that feel that what I'm saying when I say let's get unity in the black community, when they feel that I'm speaking on a being racist, being pro-black or anti-white, then you know that's your prerogative. But I'm speaking on my personal observation and my personal opinion. I was asked to come to a few meetings here in Charleston, Missouri in the last month or so. I attended one and I just sat back on the other ones in the other occasions and events just to see what would materialize from the meeting that I sat in among individuals that says or claim to be leaders. When I say claim, I'm not saying that they're not, and I'm not saying they are. Usually, actions speaks louder than words. Words and no deeds is just like no movement. But I brought up a few things in the meeting that I attended. You know, I listened to other people speak and everybody had their ideas. And me and one black businessman, we seemed to be on the same page when it came to a unity in the community and standing up against racism and injustice here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County. The black businessman, he grew up here. I just been here 24 years. But when you come together as black leaders and black voices of the community, and there's no one or no leaders that can stand hand in hand and fight against racism in a town of 5,947 people, give or take, which is here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County. 51% of that number is black. I believe 46% is white. And if that 51% can't come together when any black is being discriminated against, whether it's a store like it was with my then 13-year-old daughter at the Family Dollar here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County on February the 13th, 2020 at 601 South Main Street, when she was falsely accused of being stealing her and her mother, who her mother hadn't lived down here in Charleston, Missouri, hadn't been back in Charleston, Missouri since 2008. She recently passed in March. The next month after she was falsely accused, along with my daughter, of stealing out of a store that my daughter never stole out of. My daughter never been in the juvenile system for anything. But see, if my daughter was falsely accused like that, racially profiled, then I know a lot of other people is, but they don't speak up. But when you have a group of black leaders that come together, and none of them, they don't have no programs of standing up against racism in the 33rd Circuit Court here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County, racism in the Charleston R1 School District here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County, racism in the Charleston, Missouri Police Department, racism in the Charleston, Missouri Sheriff Department here in Mississippi County, racism in the City Hall here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County, racism in some of these stores. Then, you know, I made a suggestion when there's shots fired in the black community, as individuals, as voices sitting at these tables, let's call each other, no matter what we at, and let's go on the scene. Let's try to see what's happening. Let's try to make the peace be still. But I see them words that I uttered out of my mouth, they went on deaf ears. You see, during this past weekend, from the 17th to the 20th, from the 17th of July 2020 to July the 20th, 2020, me and my two young daughters and my dad, we was in Chicago celebrating my daughter's 15th birthday. When I made it back, somebody else called me. Nobody that was in that meeting called me and told me a young man got shot down the street from me in the Charleston, Missouri housing authorities. Thanks God that he's alive and well. Well, he's alive. I don't know his condition, but I know the young man, very respectful young man. I don't know what the situation was, but nobody in that meeting that was here called me, but I guess I'm of no importance, and I'm assuming that the suggestion, like I said, went on deaf ears. But that give you a general idea why I don't go to no events nor any meetings here, because I'm not about what some of the other people about. I mean, if you want entertainment, that's cool. You see what I'm saying? If you want any type of events, spiritual or any other things, that's cool. I'm not gonna knock it. But don't knock me when I speak up against violence in our black community. Don't speak against me when I go up against these white supremacists and blacks that help white supremacists oppress other black people. It's happening. I don't care what nobody say, it's happening. You see, there's no great concern, because I'm gonna give one scenario, but it's a fact. On May, I believe the 5th or the 8th of 2017, in the Mississippi County Detention Center or jail here in Charleston, Missouri, a 28-year-old black man that had mental issues, that lived in Nashville, Tennessee, he came here and he let the police know that he had a mental illness. Torrey D. Sanders is his name. He should have went to a hospital, to a mental facility, but the Charleston, Missouri police officers, which they must be unexperienced, you see what I'm saying? Or they intentionally just make their own laws. I believe it's both. And they end up taking him to the detention center, a place that he shouldn't have been, and that was the last place he was alive, when he was able to call and tell his mother. He said, they trying to kill me, and that's what they did. They got away with it so far because nobody in this town, black or white, spoke up against it. But if you go back on my YouTube videos, I always spoke up on it. Kept on speaking up on it. But let me tell you, now the NAACP president, the national conference president for the state of Missouri, him and some more black lawmakers out of Jefferson City and other places in Missouri, they are asking that they reopen this case because they found that didn't nobody commit murder on this guy. My bottom line is, stop the violence. And those of you all that want peace in your community, form your own group. You don't have to follow behind other people. Some people do things when they get money. Some people do things to benefit them and their family and friends. I do things to benefit our community as a whole. Some whites call me prejudiced. Some blacks call me a troublemaker. But I tell you what God called me. God called me to open up y'all eyes. Peace be still.